This summer, I decided to do a variation on the Trollheimen SignaTUR. So what I ended up doing is I started here at Gjevilvasshytta, went up to Jøldalshytta, over to Trollheimshytta, and then I was actually hiking with someone who I refer to on the blog as beginner. Beginner at this point decided that they were not into hiking further, so we went from Trollheimshytta back to Jøldalshytta and then up to Trondheim for a few days for them. But then after they flew back to the US, I actually continued hiking. And what I did is from Trondheim, I actually took the bus to a bus station right around here, did a hike where I basically went along the spur from the Fjord route up here, back into Trollheimen. And so I hit Hermanhytta, Sedersetra, to Vindalsbu, Trollheimshytta, Langvatnet, short trip to Jøldalshytta, Langvatnet over Bårdsgarden, to Vindalshytta, Bårdsgarden. I went up over Okla, which is right here, Okla, down to Vasensetra, and then back to Gjevilvasshytta. Awesome route, some of the most alpine terrain that I've actually seen in Norway, and I was fortunate enough to have what by Norwegian standards is absolutely beautiful weather for many of the days I was on this hike. So super excited to share my actual hiking videos. So these are my first day of hiking notes from my Trollheimen hiking. So the morning from Gjevilvasshytta heading out to Jøldalshytta is actually along this gravel road. And so you look out onto houses that look just like this, little cabins with grass roofs. And you will also notice you have lots of friends along the trail. As you continue, one thing to watch out for, there is a ski route that you don't want to take. It's not really marked for summers. And so just keep an eye out for this sign. But then the trail actually goes up through this beautiful birch forest. It's a little bit steep, but like wasn't too bad at all. And then once you pass out of the forest, the views open up and it starts to look like this. Absolutely, absolutely spectacular. You actually go out in the open for the rest of the day, sort of looking out all around you. Found an extremely scenic lunch spot, which is one of my favorite things to take when I'm hiking. It's filled with coffee. And then towards the end of the day, you actually reach a couple of wet patches with some bridges across them. And then actually start to drop through some farm areas to Jøldalshytta. So there's actually a farm right near Jøldalshytta where they actually get the cheese for breakfast from that farm, and it is absolutely delicious. It was one of my favorite things. And one of the cool things, I had a second floor room, but at Jøldalshytta, but this was actually the view out the window, looking directly into the grass roof and then past the grass roof out onto the mountains. Overall, just like a fantastic day. Could not have asked for better weather for the first day, especially because it was extreme vær at Hans, the like massive rainstorm that Norway got in summer 2023, just a few days before that. And despite that, just had this fantastic hiking weather. If anything, it was a little bit too warm. So second day of hiking, going from Jøldalshytta to Trollheimshytta. There are actually 3 routes today. I chose to do the one over Gjevilvasshytta. So started off the morning walking along gravel roads, fantastic views, lots of sheep. You can see some friendly sheep here, and this heart-shaped trail marker, which accurately describes how I feel about hiking. The trail was a little bit wet as we kept going, not surprising again, given that you had extreme vær at Hans just the week before. And eventually I was hiking with someone who's referred to on the blog as beginner. Beginner chose to take the easier route, and I actually went up over Gjevilvasshytta. They continued along the river to Trollheimshytta. And so the path up to Gjevilvasshytta was actually not that steep. It was steeper than I expected, but not really steep. Towards the top, it was rocky, but like, look at this view. I actually stopped right next to this cairn to have lunch, which was awesome. And then went through a very steep drop down back into the valley the bottom section was wet, like the kind of wet where like I took a step and I was like, thank God I'm only 50 meters from the cabin because my shoes are soaked. All of a sudden popped out of the forest and saw this view. This is one of the outbuildings for Trollheimen SignaTUR with SignaTUR, which is one of the famous mountains in the background. And after that, I immediately went, checked in, took off my shoes, put them in the drying room, and then settled down in this beautiful living room for a while to just enjoy the rest of the day while I waited for the person I was hiking with to actually meet me at the cabin, which they did without a problem, fortunately. And then, so I always say on the blog that Norway is so fantastically marked and it's so easy to hike. And this was the day that I realized how wrong I was. So I took the bus back from Trondheim to basically what was just a middle of nowhere bus stop, and then hopped off the bus stop to actually hike up to a cabin called Gjevilvasshytta that basically serves as the bridge between the Fjord route, which is a signature tour that goes actually around a fjord. It's super cool looking, and the Trollheimen and hiking. So little cabin, just wanted to go see it, check it off. My quest to get 100 cabins and eventually probably to get all the cabins. But basically started hiking up and noticed that the trail, despite having the DNT markers, was like completely overgrown. And I was super confused why that was. This is a picture. If you can spot the marked tree, good job. If you can't spot the marked tree, me either. I was just bushwhacking my way up the mountain and hating myself more with every step. I eventually popped out of the woods to find the cabin. As you can see, I was super excited about that. Stopped and had a little bit of a snack at the cabin, really pretty up there. And then on the way down, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna take the cross-country ski path. So I started taking the cross-country ski path, and as I dropped further and further down, I realized that was because the cross-country ski path was actually the new path. DNT had stopped maintaining the other path, and the trail that was marked on OOT and my map was wrong. So OOT is sometimes wrong was my life lesson, and I should have followed the signs. So after that, I was like, it's fine. I'm just going to go up to SignaTUR now. It's going to be really easy, blah, blah, blah. And then I crossed the street, got to the trailhead, and saw this sign, which hopefully let me know that there was a new path because the standard short path was under construction. Great. Proceeded to walk up to the cabin. Lots of bushwhacking. It started to get dark, and I was like just straight up not having a good time. I was like, why do I do this? Why do I force myself to go hiking? Walked up, shoes got a little wet, which was a bummer because they had finally been dry, and finally got to the cabin. Cabin was tiny, pretty cool inside actually, because it felt like it was someone's like living room basically. It was really cute, but there was no one else there. And to give you a sense of like how few people visit, I was person number 23 for the year. And when I went to go get my dinner out of the provenance room, the like provision cabinet, I pulled out this cracker that says best before February 2019. Basically, that cracker had been there since like 2017 because those things don't go bad. I ate them. Anyway, they tasted like cardboard, but that was kind of my only dinner option. And then was actually kind of a little bit bummed. It was like very alone. One of the things that I love about hiking in Norway is the cabin culture and actually getting to meet people in the cabins. And, you know, there was clearly no one else here. And I had just had this like frustrating day of bushwhacking and was really hoping there was someone I could vent to at the cabin. That turned out not to be the case. So I just went to sleep and said, I'll get up early, clean up the cabin again, and then head out. I was thinking potentially I could make it all the way to Trollheimen SignaTUR the next day. And I was like, there will definitely be people at Trollheimen SignaTUR and there will be warm dinner. So that would be very exciting. I woke up at SignaTUR all optimistic about the weather and the hike, walked outside and realized it was already raining. So got to stick on my brand new ultra favorite piece of clothing, which is my raincoat. Yes, I am a gear nerd, and actually started the hike. The challenge is that much like the day before, there was a substitute trail that I had to take. And so what should have been a relatively smooth and easy hike actually ended up being really hard to follow and super wet. You can see in this picture, it would have been spectacular had it been clear, but there was so much mist and moisture in the air that it was pretty miserable and slow going. And so between that, the weather, the trail conditions, the sort of feeling of like frustration left over from the day before and all the bushwhacking I'd done, I got to Vindalsbu, this cabin, and I was like, I'm going to stop and have a warm lunch in the self-service cabin. And then I walked inside and I took a look at this living room, and that quickly turned into, actually, I'm gonna just spend the night here. I'm gonna call this a rest day, recuperate, and hopefully feel a little bit better and more ready to go tomorrow. Relaxing in a self-service cabin. Making pancakes, which I'm about to put on the stove, which is very warm. It's a very cute cabin. This is the living room. See all my kitchen supplies, nice windows. Oh yeah, electric lights. Got another fireplace out here. And then we've got these cute little bedrooms. Let's see if this one's bright. Cute little bedrooms. This would be a great view if it had not been raining all day, but it's been raining all day. Oh yes, electric lights. And then up these steps, there's a little loft with some more bedrooms. This is pretty cool. This is the overflow space. And then from down the stairs, in other luxuries, a well-stocked provisions room. Lots of exciting things. And when you go outside, it's not raining quite as much. Oh my God, look! That's a sun! That's sun! You can see the difference in the color of the sky. This is water, which flows from a nearby stream. You can just turn it on and turn it off. And then back here, in other luxuries, wood for the fireplace and your toilet. You barely have to leave to get your toilet. So yes, this is definitely, if not my favorite self-service cabin I've stayed in, it's definitely up there. Also enjoy that view again. Isn't that spectacular? Oh, and a grass roof. The fireplace pancakes, though very atmospheric, were unsuccessful, so I've resorted to cooking pancakes on the stove. Also, somewhat unsuccessfully. I am clearly not yet Norwegian and wise in the ways of self-service cabin breakfast making. Okay, I didn't flip this one successfully, but it is definitely pancake colored. The results of the pancake making: one fire alarm set off, and this pile of pancakes. So this one actually looks the most like a Norwegian pancake, so maybe this one, which is supposed to basically be thin and crepe-like, and you can smear stuff on the inside. This is not. Actually, it's still kind of raw in the middle, but the fire alarm went off, and yeah. So all in all, I would say this is maybe a 2 out of 10 cooking effort. I only set off one of the fire alarms in the cabin, which means I get at least a 2. And this one is maybe passable. Okay. Okay, trying to make a trail video. I am on my way from Vindalsbu, which was the cabin I stayed at last night, to Trollheimen SignaTUR. The path is pretty well marked and sometimes pretty nice when it's dry. Other times, if you look up here, you'll see it's soaking wet. My shoes and rain pants are already soaked. Kind of cool. There's a ton of rain today, so everything's in fog, and it feels a little bit like a fairy tale forest. Out there, though, supposedly there are mountains. I saw them for a brief moment yesterday, but don't think today is going to have too many views. Oh, and I'm about a mile from Vindalsbu, about 11 and a half, 12 miles to go to Trollheimen SignaTUR. Squish, 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 squish. Lots of this condition, which you'll notice is running water, that has cleverly disguised itself as grass and mud. Oof. I am so excited for a drying room and a shower tonight. This is myrrh. Myrrh is a type of, well, literally it translates to swamp, but it's usually found in the high mountains of Norway. It's very beautiful to look at, especially when you get the heather. It's kind of a pain to walk through. So this is the trail. And as you see, water. Lots of mud, lots of water. Even with the rain, it is beautiful here. Look, mountains, mountains, more mountains. That's where I came from. More mountains. This is how much rain we got today. This is incredible. Also, it's why I'm soaking wet and maybe not the greatest hike of my life today. So much water. The river was still rocking after yesterday, but the weather is so much better. So this is the turnoff to go to Gjevilvasshytta. I'm stopping to apply sunscreen because for the first time on this trip, it is actually sunny enough that I have to wear sunscreen. It's a very beautiful day. The sun. To get a sense of how much it rained yesterday, this was a normal gummy bear. Now, focus on the gummy bear. Boing, 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 boing. Boing, boing. So on my way from Trollheimen SignaTUR to Gjevilvasshytta, it continues to be a beautiful day. I'm about 4.5 miles in. So another 10 to 12 to go. Look at that. Look at that mountain in the distance. Ooh. So the trails are definitely still a little wet, although much, much better than yesterday. Although I have realized that my shoes, after something like 1,000 kilometers of hiking, have given up a little bit and may no longer be entirely waterproof, which is a thing that happens. Not the thing I was hoping for. Fortunately, I have duct tape, so I will be repairing them tonight and going around in duct tape mummy shoes for the rest of the hike. Anyway, it is such a beautiful day. So this is lunch break spot number 1. I just need a moment of appreciation for how perfectly wrapped this sandwich packet is. The secret is using about 2 inches or 3 inches more parchment paper than you think you need. Also, what a view. Spot for second lunch. About 4 miles left to go. There's the trail marker. So I was up in a valley back up that way, following the lake that this river comes from. Then I'm now going to start dropping basically all the way down to Kervatten, or Carvatten, if you pronounce it like it looks in English, which is a self-serve cabin that I might stay in tonight. If I'm feeling good, I might push all the way to Jøldalshytta, which is another 7 kilometers past it. But yeah, still beautiful day. Got a few sprinkles, but overall, pretty good trail conditions too, given the amount of rain we got yesterday. So this is where I'm going to turn off to climb today. The first 1.5 miles from Kervatten is pretty easy. It's about 1.5 miles on this really nice gravel road. I'm wearing trail runners because my hiking boots are still soaking wet. But as you can see, this is where the trailhead starts. Continuing to hike, you might be able to hear that waterfall in the background. So I'm about 2.5 miles in, 1 mile of climb behind me, and then that first 1.5 miles on a flat gravel road. I currently have the Pretender's 500 miles stuck in my head and keep thinking to myself, I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more. And then there's this voice in the back of my head that goes, wait, actually, I love long tours. This sounds pretty good. So yes, I think I may have slightly lost it. But yeah, view is spectacular, weather's holding in, and somehow my shoes are still mostly dry. So I'm now about 3.25 miles in. So I've been steadily climbing for about 2 miles, and oh boy, is it getting spectacular. Look at this. You can probably hear a stream nearby. You can actually, if you squint towards the sort of upper middle, you can see actually a couple of rivers. More distinctive mountains over there. Don't know how well you can see it on this, but you can actually see the fjord. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yep, that's a fjord. So those are the mountains falling into the fjord near Vindalsbu. We've got a few wisps of clouds already building, kind of at the same, looks like we're on the same elevation that I'm at. As far as I know, it is still supposed to start raining around noon. And then, if you look at that little green patch, that is Kervatten, actually, where the hike starts this morning. It is really kind of ruining my pace to keep stopping and taking all of these videos and looking around, but oh my god. Isn't this amazing? So, we go not up and over the mountain, fortunately, but in between them. And just a few seconds ago, we actually had a really, I don't know why I keep saying we, I had a really nice view of the fjord. But unfortunately, this little hill is now in the way. But yeah, about 3 miles of climb left. Got about 1.5 miles of climb left, and then about 2.5 miles of drop. I think I'm doing that math right in my head. But decided to stop for a quick snack. I'm hungrier than I expected. Also, it's spectacular, and I don't mind looking at the fjord for a little bit longer. Fjord. I am having the most Norwegian lunch possible, which is a Waza knekkebrød sandwich with brown cheese in the middle while looking at a fjord. Got maybe a 1/4 mile left. Really cool lake to the right, and the trail up ahead gets quite rocky. It's still okay right here, but already there's been a little bit of scrambling action. Made it to Bårdsgarden. Did not pronounce the T this time. Looks like it's going to be a spectacular drop down. The lake over there. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but there's a massive waterfall right there that looks beautiful. Moving over, you can actually see a glacier if you see the blue ice. I don't know how well it's showing up. Let's zoom in. Blue ice on the glacier. And then as you sort of turn, you can see kind of the terrain. That's the bowl I came out of. So you can just see the peaks now. The terrain's been like this. Rocks. Pretty rocky for the past about a mile. But yeah, spectacular views. I think I am going to go drop down to that T right there and go have some lunch. Dropping down into the valley, probably about 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 miles total. The trail is super, super steep through this section. Basically, in 2 miles, you drop almost all of what it took you 5 to climb. And morning video. Just left Jøldalshytta. I'm leaving 2 to 3 hours after I normally leave for my hike because I had a fantastic conversation with the guy who runs the cabin. We talked all about Ukraine and refugees and Rotary Club and his life here, and it was lovely and life-affirming, and I'm very happy. Mommy sheep followed by baby sheep. I've been climbing probably about a mile, not really sure. So I'm gonna be following a river at a distance for a little bit. Trail is getting muddier, but still not too bad. The view backwards is spectacular. You can see the glacier a little bit through the clouds, but it feels much easier than yesterday. The trail is quite a bit drier, even though it doesn't look it in this part. And so it's actually been a much easier hike. I also ate a very large and nourishing breakfast of smoked salmon and goat cheese on toast, which was absolutely delicious. I've had probably 4 cups of coffee and am feeling great. This one's grouchy. I'm on its trail. More friends. More sheep. So I have now climbed up the ridge from Vindalsbu and Langvatnet. Up here, we've got Langvatnet, which is the big lake that I'm going to go along. Moment of appreciation for this cairn. Not sure if it's how visible it is on camera, but this cairn is actually balanced. The big rock is balanced on 3 little rocks. We've got this flat rock in the middle, and there are 2 rocks underneath, so it's stacked like a Jenga board. Pretty impressive cairn making, if I say so. Langvatnet. I'm currently walking along Langvatnet. There's a river flowing into it. You can see there are actually still some patches of snow here. It's a good bit chillier up here than it was in the valley. Going to have to stop and put my sweater on soon. And I'm thinking I might wait until the end of the lake to try to catch a view there before I stop and have my lunch. Through the valley today. Also a moment of appreciation for this Jenga cairn. There's actually an entirely special way to build these cairns that ensures their stability, but if you look at that, you can actually see through the cairn, which is pretty cool. Going to have my sandwich now. I have a salmon and goat cheese sandwich that I am very pumped for. So that and some licorice boats. And yeah, then keep going and drop some more elevation. This kind of looks like Mars. Isn't this awesome? So just past where the two paths come together, the one that went through Porton or the valley, and the one that I took over Langvatnet. I'm now going to continue to drop towards this lake, then around, then further down, and have somewhere between 8 and 10 kilometers left for today. You can see the mountains behind me are getting covered in cloud, but the valley ahead looks pretty clear. There's even a little spot of sunshine over there. Have I mentioned recently how beautiful it is here? Look at that. So I've got about 6 kilometers left to Bårdsgarden. Probably closer to 7 actually. So came down, you can see the bowl I came down from, just past that lake. It's a little bit wet in parts. Had to cross a couple of rivers, but really nice walk. Turn back, you can kind of see, I'm going to keep going straight sort of through this little section of hills. Hills, definitely just hills. Got 4 to 5 kilometers left, dropping elevation pretty quickly. As you can see the valley in front of me, there's a whole little cabin section here. One of the cool things about this time of year is all of these are blueberry bushes. And all of those are also blueberry bushes. So I have been taking many stops to eat blueberries. Pretty excited to get out of some, unfortunately now wet hiking boots. And I'm really hoping that this cabin has vanilla sauce in their provision room, because I am craving some peaches with vanilla sauce right now, which might be one of the most Norwegian things I've ever said. Welcome to one of the fanciest self-service cabins I've ever been to. That is an indoor flushing toilet. If you look out the window, so the cabin's actually located on a working farm. There's the view from the other side, which is pretty spectacular. Water. That is an electric stove. That is a second running water tap. I almost don't know what to do with myself. That's a fridge that's working. It's got butter in it. It's pretty cool. This is the provenance room, which is well stocked, except I was really craving vanilla sauce, which is not here. Extremely beautiful. Peisestue, so fireplace room, translated. You can see lots of comfy chairs, big selection of reading materials, big fireplace for the winter, although it is quite warm out, so I don't think I'm going to be needing that. But you can see the clouds are starting to lift. There's actually so much fog in the valley that you could just see the lake this morning. You couldn't actually see any of the mountains. Fog is clearing. So I am at the turnoff right now, where instead of going to Gjevilvasshytta over Fjord, which is what I'll do tomorrow, I'm going to go, this says Langvatnet, over Akla. I'm actually just going to go to Akla and then come back down. There used to be a boat actually that took you from Langvatnet to Gjevilvasshytta, but it is unfortunately no longer running, which is kind of a bummer because there's a lake in between Langvatnet and the nearest cabin, and it is a very long lake. Clouds are clearing. It looks pretty awesome today, and trail conditions have been pretty good so far. Kind of a gentle climb on a farm road, a gentle climb on some dirt path, and it actually hasn't been too wet. And coolest thing, my shoes are dry this morning because Bårdsgarden actually had a shoe drying machine that basically had like vacuum tubes that you stuck into your shoe and blew hot air right into your shoes. So that actually managed to dry them out. So yes, gonna keep hiking onwards. So it's getting much windier if you can't tell. We've got some dark clouds building over there. Hopefully the rain holds off until I reach the top. But yeah, out here, that's the valley I came from. You can even see the lake just behind this cairn. Lake continues out that way. And then back there is where I'm hiking to tomorrow. It is beautiful, albeit extremely windy. Oh, you can actually see where I came from yesterday too. That's awesome. Peaks. You can see all the snowfields. I'm now wearing my rain jacket because it is quite windy up here. Yeah, so gonna keep going. I've actually been gaining quite a bit of elevation. It's probably about, I think last time I checked it was 1350. Going up to 1580 or 1600. And so, again, mountains are nicer to look at. Hi, this is me. I'm on a multi-day hiking trip. Here are some mountains. Fog is definitely moving in. You can only see about half the mountains right now. You can also hear the wind. Definitely some rain clouds coming over there. Wow, my phone is blowing in the wind right now. So, I have made it to the top of Omveien. As you can probably hear, it's extremely windy now. You can definitely feel the weather coming in this afternoon. Just check out these views now. So back that way, what you can't see is the valley that you saw, or I saw as I came up. So when you look over here, sorry, I'm walking very slowly, you can see more of the lake. You can actually see the cloud coming in through part of the valley right there. That-ish is Vindalsbu. So this is an iconic view of North Trollheimen. Unfortunately, the very peaks are in clouds right now. The view. So you walk over here, those are covered in clouds, but you can actually see the lake. Gjevilvasshytta. My pronunciation is getting moderately better. And lots of clouds coming in. Classic. On the way down from Okla right now. This is pretty beautiful. I'm actually pretty glad I'm dropping this way, so I get to actually look at the mountains instead of having them at my back as I climb. Mountains. Dropping back down. It is a spectacular way up and a spectacular way down. Big fan of this trail. Okay, despite the presence of rain clouds, or the threat of rain clouds, I think I am going to keep walking. It is only 2:30, and I don't really want to sit in the cabin until, 8, potentially just by myself, again. So I'm going to keep going to Gjevilvasshytta, which looks online like it is very packed tonight, so I may end up regretting this decision if I end up sleeping on the floor, but we will see. And at the very least, I'm going to be going along the lake, so it should be a really nice hike. And pretty fast. It's 13 kilometers, pretty flat, so yeah, Oh my gosh, a little bit of sunshine. This sheep is too busy eating to notice me. Oh, it noticed me. Hi, sheep. You're a Madison, aren't you? Oh my god, I found food. Doesn't look like I'm going to be hiking for the views today. Trail has been mostly flat so far. Gentle incline. Not too bad though. So the top of the mountain is back there in the fog. So we're going to see. It's quite windy. We're going to see how this goes. Well, I have reached the summit. Unfortunately, I'm entirely in a cloud, and the winds have picked up about 35 miles an hour. So rather than enjoying a view and coffee from there's the view, I am going to turn around, drop 400 meters or so, and then find a good spot to have a sandwich and some coffee, because I don't think it's up here today. Not the greatest hike if you're looking for a view. At least not now in the middle of a cloud. Now, of course, it is totally clear up there, and the wind has died down. Timing is everything, and my timing with the summit today was not great, but still a very nice hike.